Welcome to I Drink Your Podcast.
Oh gosh, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You leave me no choice. Here comes the smolder.
Wait, you like that?
No,
you don't like that?
No, I don't like that.
No, how about that? You like that?
A little better.
Bread makes you fat?
Does this count as annoying?
Just tell me what you want me to fuck!
Not you, and not you.
Okay, I think it's time to take off your clothes and jump me.
$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool?
I drink your podcast! I drink it up!
Welcome to I Drink Your Podcast. This is Emily, and we are here with some amazing people. Ben.
Really? I'm one of the amazing ones?
Well, you're okay. But we really have our special, wonderful friend, Brandon.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Welcome back, Brandon and Ben. We are excited to talk about this movie. And before we do, please rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, all of those different platforms. We would really appreciate the support.
We'll stop asking as soon as we get that little number next to our 5 stars on Spotify. We'll stop plugging that at the beginning. We just want it very badly.
It would be nice to even just see 10, right?
10 would be great, even if it wasn't 5 stars. Add a little 10 next to that, showing that we had 10 people rate us. That'd be wonderful.
And 10 people actually listen to us.
I mean, we have more than that listen to us.
True. I know.
Before we get into this movie, though, what is in your glass, Brandon?
I have sweet tea in honor of I guess it's kind of south. It's Missouri, so it's south of the Mason-Dixon line, right?
Yep.
I think anything south of the Mason-Dixon line is south.
Emily, what do you got?
I decided to go non-alcoholic with a pink Squirrel, which is just an ice cream drink. And I didn't have vanilla ice cream, so obviously I used the leftover of vanilla Swiss almond, so it has some almondy chocolatey bits in it. And I have it in a nice fancy martini glass, because why the fuck not?
You are looking fancy. I've been kind of looking up drinks for the last several weeks and just kind of doing something that closely makes sense. This week I decided to make my own drink, and I'm calling it the Meth Lab Explosion. It's tequila, rum, vodka, pineapple orange juice, and grenadine, and it does look a little bit fiery, and it's fiery going down.
Does it even taste remotely good?
Yeah, it actually is pretty good.
Okay. You have some jungle juice over there.
Mm-hmm.
This week we watched Winter's Bone, which is available to stream on Peacock, and we are so excited to talk about this really elaborate movie.
Mike Satterfield, A1 Bonds.
What is it you want?
We hold the bond on Jessup Dolly. He didn't show for court.
That ain't no run.
Jessup signed over everything. If he doesn't show at trial, see, the way the deal works is you all gonna lose his house here. You got someplace to go?
I'll find him.
Girl, I've been looking.
I said I'll find him.
Winter's Bone was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Adapted Screenplay. And according to Metacritic, which compiles a bunch of critics' lists and scores, it is the second best movie of 2010, and currently sits at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What's number 1?
Social Network.
Oh,
yeah, that makes sense.
It is directed by Deborah Granick, who before this had only directed the 2004 movie Down to the Bone, which is not related to this movie at all. But she does clearly have a type when it comes to titles for her movies. Starring in this movie is Jennifer Lawrence. She is the main character, Ree, and she was nominated for Best Actress for this role. Her main credit up till now was starring as the daughter on the Bill Engvall show.
Which I looked up. Looks terrible. Not my thing.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Engvall was one of those blue-collar comedy guys, and they gave him his own sitcom, and it's in the same vein of, Last Man Standing or Roseanne, the blue-collar sitcom.
Very blue-collar. This movie wasn't really blue-collarish to me. It was a lot different, a lot more different than blue-collar. It was very low-collar.
Also starring in this movie is John Hawkes. He had many credits before this, most notably starring as Sol Star on Deadwood and as Dustin Powers on Eastbound and Down. But he was also in movies like Identity, Hardball, Blue Streak, and Rush Hour. And he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this role.
Are you all excited to hear what I thought this movie was about?
Oh, you got to tell us.
I have been dying to talk about this one for a while because, Ben, you told me it was some sort of mystery drama in the Ozarks and it's coming of age, and I really latched on to that coming of age idea.
Which part of it? The age?
You'll find out. Did you know that God has 4 children? They're named Spring, Summer, Autumn, and Winter. Where Winter is the youngest of the 4. The story escalates when Winter visits their siblings at a small college near the Ozarks, and they are taken aback as Spring, Summer, and Autumn plan a trip to the mountains for the party of the century, so that Winter can lose their V card on their 18th birthday. So much drama, so much mystery, because who is Winter gonna bone? Yeah.
I would have watched that.
Did you envision Jennifer Lawrence as Winter?
Yeah, I could see her doing that. She's got range, I think.
This is her first big film, right?
This is the one. This is the one that got her Hunger Games.
Okay.
This is just a prequel to Hunger Games.
That's what I said. I thought that too. I was like, hey, we're like not quite Virginia, West Virginia, not quite coal mining town, but we're all just hanging out and poverty.
In Missouri.
Bundled up.
The mom who doesn't talk, no dad. A brother
Right.
who's soon to perish. Well, Brandon, what is this movie actually about? Straight from the DVD cover.
Well, straight from the DVD cover, after her deadbeat loser of her father jumps bail, 17-year-old Ray sets out to track him down, or she risks losing the family home and the custody of her young siblings. Turning to her nearest kin, Ray is confronted with lies and threats as her family turn against her. With little to no time on her side, danger at every step, she must uncover the brutal truth about her father and hopefully find him alive.
Spoiler alert.
What's the spoiler?
She hopefully finds him alive. She doesn't.
But that's not spoiled on the DVD cover.
Shut up.
You spoiled it.
I did. That's why I was saying spoiler alert, because I was going to make a joke.
Did either of you think that when the bail bondsman said that her dad needs to be found dead or alive, that you thought she was going to hunt him down in the second half of the movie and kill her dad? Because that's what I thought this movie was going to turn into.
I wish that would have turned out that way. That would have made it way more dramatic to me.
Yeah, it felt like it was missing. It felt like he was kind of ran along with the ride. It didn't feel like it was. I was kind of hoping like it was like the third man, like you find him alive like later. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like he's not dead. Because he kind of felt like he was like a mulligan, not a mulligan, but like a
MacGuffin.
MacGuffin. I'm sorry. He felt like he was
What's
like a
MacGuffin?
MacGuffin the whole time.
A MacGuffin is a thing or a person that's just used to drive a plot along.
Right.
Oh, okay. So like, what's a common or like a really well-known MacGuffin?
In Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, when they go try to find the Wayfinder, that's a MacGuffin. The suitcase in Pulp Fiction, that's a MacGuffin.
Yeah. So that's what he felt like when you see the end and he's nowhere to be found. He's actually dead. Like that's what it felt like. Like I would have much rather him been alive and then something happened to him. You know what I'm saying? Or he just said he wasn't coming back to the house or something like that. I would rather kind of that would have happened because it felt like everybody knew what happened and she was trying to figure it out. I would have much rather he was hiding someplace and then her and her uncle didn't know.
I kept waiting for this cathartic moment where she's able to confront her father. Like that's what I thought this movie was building to where she could finally tell him off and be like, I'm fucking upset with you. How could you do this to our family? Like we're done with you. I'm taking you in. Almost like a True Grit, which is a movie that we're gonna watch.
Don't spoil it.
Okay. I won't spoil it.
I've seen it. I just don't remember it.
I even have a reference to that film to True Grit in this because I was like, it's like she's trying to find the guy.
Yeah,
like that's not how it felt. True Grit, like in like especially in the middle of the second act, it kind of really felt like it.
I hadn't seen this movie before. Had either of you seen this?
No.
Never seen it.
Funny story. When Corbin was telling me about this movie, he was prepping me for The Lovely Bones, not this movie.
No.
I was like expecting that, and I definitely did not get Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, the entire time you're like, where's Tucci and Fat Wahlberg?
Fat Wahlberg.
It's fine. I'll watch that eventually, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
2009, probably not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like on my own. But yes, you're right. I probably won't. Let's be honest. I will forever be cursed with movies watching for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't have any strong opinions of it. I think throughout the movie, I was similar to you, Ben and Brandon, just waiting for the next thing to drop. And it never really happened. The conclusion to me felt not dry, but really predictable, even though I didn't really know what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really got super invested with what was happening, even though I felt like Jennifer Lawrence did a really convincing job. But generally, it was an okay movie watching it for the first time.
Yeah, Brandon, how about you?
I liked the beginning of it, the first 5-6 minutes, because everything was shown, not told.
Mm-hmm.
So when she walks in, she's with her brother and sister, and they're walking to school. She walks into school. Then she's not necessarily going to school. She's looking at the like ROTC, and she's hearing all the announcements and stuff. And she goes back and she's chopping wood. Like that whole thing, you knew she was basically taking care of this family by herself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's like subtle things in it that I think I really liked. I just don't know if it was one that I was like, yeah, this is like. Well, then again, I don't know what else was up for Best Picture that year, but like, I don't know if it didn't feel Best Picture-esque to me.
No, it didn't. It didn't feel like that at all. And the entire movie, I spent it wondering, like, what are critics seeing here that I'm not seeing? Like, is there some sort of subtext that I'm just not picking up on? Is there something historical that maybe they're drawing into that I'm not aware of? Like, it's this idea of like a young girl undertaking an odyssey to find something, which she just feels like such a generic storyline. And I don't feel like anything really was done in a super creative way to differentiate it from any other time this story has been told. Like nothing in this movie was bad. I'll say that right now. Like there wasn't anything where I was like, oh, ew, like I have one thing, but it's me being nitpicky. But the cinematography was well done. It wasn't spectacular, but it was well done.
Mm-hmm.
The performances, I did like the performances of Jennifer Lawrence and John Hawkes. I was on board with the characters I was seeing. But like as far as filmmaking, like there was nothing that really jumped off the screen at me as being like, wow, like this is eye-popping. This is really cool. Like it was all just kind of there in front of me, like a low budget. It just felt very low budget to me.
Which is not a bad thing always, but
Nope.
This felt like they were using high budget stuff, but not actually doing anything productive with it. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, low budget can be very good when you have either like a really good script in your hand that you can lean heavily on if you're going to try to do really cool stuff with the camera or really cool editing techniques. But this it felt so generic, almost like a made for TV movie from the 90s, just about like a survival type movie. That's kind of the feel I got.
And the cinematographer's actually done, like most of the stuff he's done has been TV stuff. And he's not bad. He's really good. Like he did, no, seriously, he was one of the, I think he already did one of these movies, not did the movie, but talked about a guy who was a cinematographer on one of these other movies. He did New York, I Love You. So he has one segment in that.
Okay.
He did his two most popular things. He did an episode of Downton Abbey. And then he did the first 13 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. So he's good. He's established. It's just, it didn't, I mean, maybe there's no need for super swooping shots or anything like that, because it's kind of a static, the environment doesn't really call for it. So I think like in that, like less is more in that respect.
I have a theory about this movie and just how society, the critics, everyone viewed it. I think the idea of having really obvious, blatant misogyny in this movie and showing that it's bad and it's happening in a really bad way, but not like having any sort of moment to stand up against that. Plus, the idea of this is the rural, common American folk, where they are almost endearing to us higher level folk. I don't know how else to describe it other than that's how I felt critics were treating it, going, wow, they made a huge statement on how women are treated in a common rural society like this. And she has overcome so many challenges without explicitly making a big change or statement. And I think it really comes down to, no offense to those critics out there, I think it's really this high horse of looking down on people. And I was reading one of, I think it was Roger Ebert's review, and talking about how it does it in this lovingly expressive way of showing who these people are, because they are the real, like a lot of the actors were people from the Ozarks, not professionals at all. And I don't know, I felt like it was incredibly condescending in aspects of it. And so I can definitely come up with some examples, but I need to like think for a minute.
I don't know. I think I might have looked at it like it's just a crime drama in the Ozarks with just like, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie called A Simple Plan. If you get a chance to see it, it's really good.
Does it have a simple plan?
It's a very simple plan. That becomes complex really quick. But it felt like the whole meth lab aspect of it. Like her dad is, I think her dad goes fed, right? He ends up talking to the police or something like that.
Yep.
How like the family takes care of that, like, because I don't know who you guys think probably killed it. I think it's Thump. That's just me. I think Thump was like a big part of it, and probably the other guy who dropped off the cash at the end. I think they had something to do with it, but that's just me.
The guy who dropped off the cash at the end was the bail bondsman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You thought the bail bondsman killed him?
Well,
could have been involved. There was all sorts of things that were stated and implied, like the sheriff like told on Jessup, and that's why he died. I don't know. It's like they're making it convoluted and didn't keep it as a simple plan.
And then it kind of seemed as though like there's something bigger going on that you never, this unspoken, like, because if they're gonna come and take that land, the whole thing he was saying, like, yeah, they're gonna come and cut down all like the trees or whatever. So I'm thinking like, okay, who's in on that deal, and how did her dad end up looped into it to say he's gonna back out of it, and why did he back out and start saying so? So that whole part of that whole crime drama aspect of it is what I was looking for more of that I didn't really see in it. Because then it kind of became more so about like, it became more survival than it did figuring out who did this. Because I think they tell you, but they don't point the finger and say it's this person, which I liked. But at the same time, I liked it, but at the same time, it's like it's for people who need closure in that respect. It felt like it was open ended.
Yeah, that was me. I needed closure in the case of this movie, because when John Hawkes was at the end is like, I know who did it. And
then didn't fucking say it,
and then didn't tell us who it was. I was like, oh, you're kind of blackballing me here. Like I'd really like to know what you know.
Not blue balling.
No, it's because it's much worse. They turned black. That's how longing I was. But no, I didn't like that. I wanted to know who it was. If you're taking me on this hour and 40-minute journey of finding her father, like, if we're not going to find the father, then you need to at least tell me who the killer is. Otherwise, what was this journey we were just on?
Well, we found him, Ben.
The father? They found the father?
His hands.
Well, they found his whole body, then took his hands off. That scene caught me off guard quite a bit.
I was not ready for that.
No.
I thought they were going to try and kill her, personally. That's the first thing that popped in my head. But like when, like,
just dip that boat a little bit.
Yeah, this is go on over there. Go on, reach over there, baby. It's right there. You got to grab the hands. I was like, yep, here it comes. But like the thing that was really subtle for me, and I guess it's just because I'm from Missouri and like kind of certain keys for like having money pops up. So like that's Stump's wife, right? Who comes to after everybody gets beat up. When they're escorting her back to wherever they're going, she's in a Cadillac. So Cadillac to me in the South, you got a little money, especially if it's like the 2-door coupe joint. Like they make a whole bunch of those that are still riding around in the South. But like the one thing I noticed is when the bell bosman pulled up, he pulled up in like a, what was that? It's like a Buick LeSabre or something like that. So like he's like, yeah, that type of car is.
I think
he's not from around here.
Comment, yeah, you're right. They comment on that.
Yeah, and that's not something that you at the time. Then that's not something you would see a lot in 2010, like further south. You would see something if you have money that's going to be more status. Like Cadillacs are still kind of statusy. So that's when I was like, all right, she has money. Of course, Stump's running everything. How does she just happen to know where this body's at? So that whole part was like, all right, I think he has something to do with it, and I think it could be a money thing.
Can I veer off and ask a really off-topic question?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that there's this show called Ozark. Is it anything related to this movie?
It's set in the same general area. It is also a story of drugs and corruption, but it is, I mean, it's much more of a white-collar look at it than the vision we get in this of one of like people living in poverty.
Okay. I was just curious because I think that's the only other time I've heard the word Ozark before. I know that's really shitty. I don't know any geography.
It's pretty big in Missouri.
I'm sure it is.
Another fact, the Ozark show is not shot in the Ozarks. It's actually shot in Georgia.
Versus this is actually shot on location.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And it's I was telling my brother this too, because he's here. So I was like, hey man, like I'm watching this movie, like everything's shot outside. Like I can actually smell the, like it felt like I could smell outside. Everything's outside. That's kind of, like, everything's blue and it has that cold feel to it. So everything has that. So it felt like
that winter's bone.
Chill. Felt very, very wintry. This was done pretty well. Oh, real quick, can we talk about like literally one of my most typecast favorite actresses in this? Like Dale Dickey is in this. She's like the one. She always plays somebody from the South, and she always plays that like mean chick from the South. She kills that shit every single time, and she killed it in this too.
That's Thump's wife, right?
Yep. She kills it every time she's in anything. I'm like, yep, she finna murder this shit. Every off rip, the accent's gonna be on point. Her next to, I feel like everybody else was trying the accent. I feel like she got it. Like she has it. And she's always had it.
Well, let's jump into the good. Let's just get on with it. Who won this movie for you, Emily?
I think honestly, the idea that it was shot on location and that they had local people helping the setting feel more lived in, and just seeing the houses, the condition that they were in, the poverty that was there. I didn't like it in Gone Baby Gone because I felt like it was forced. This felt a lot more natural, and I think that was the only part that I like really enjoyed. Fight me, Ben.
I'm just thinking, one thing I found interesting with this movie is kind of the universality of the story. Of you could have taken this exact story and put it in Brooklyn and had it be all black characters, and you could have told the same exact story. Mm-hmm. You could have put this in Boston and had given us all Boston accent people, and it could have been the same story. So I guess I kind of understand what you're saying, but I also don't think that being in the Ozarks necessitated, like, was important to the story that was being told. I think it was just a random setting. I don't think so at all. Okay.
I just liked the setting. It was like, I didn't like this movie. I'm just going to throw that out there. Did not like this movie. This is my winning.
Okay.
It really felt like it was and this isn't a knock on it. It felt like it was like a basic film. Like it didn't feel, I mean, maybe some of the dialogue, because I've heard some of that stuff before. Mm-hmm. People in certain areas, they have more of a caring way of saying "fuck you," and I think that's what they kind of captured that a bit in it. I don't know. It felt like it was just a really, and probably at the time was probably a more like a more of an in-depth film to break down. It was a whole lot of other stuff. Right now, it doesn't feel like that. Like 10, 12 years later, it doesn't feel like it's anything big. Maybe like Emily said, maybe like the people in the town, because like the guy who was the recruiter, you could tell he was not an actor.
Yeah.
Then some of the townspeople that actually had parts, you could tell sometimes you could tell they weren't acting, other times they probably just got them to be themselves and it worked. And I always like that in film. So I would say probably that, like basically the area is probably won it for me.
Suck it, Ben.
I'm just saying, put the area anywhere and the movie still works as well.
And that's 100% true. That's 100% true. But I think for this, not, again, this is probably something nobody's seen and thought about actually having a murder mystery type film that's set in a spot to where nobody thinks it's people in this area would do anything like that. Even though I was telling my brothers too, like people from down south, they got this look that like when like the bail bondsman, it was the bail bondsman came up. He looked at him, and then like the two guys are sitting up against the truck, like, all right, make a move. Like that's a universal thing. The further south you go, like they don't hoot and holler or talk a whole lot. They just give you a look, so you know what's going on after that.
I realized that this movie is based off of a book, and the author that wrote it, he lived in the Ozarks, and so he got a lot of source material from just like his time there. And I guess maybe that's part of the reason why I felt that they honored the locals that were there. And that was kind of a little bit more why I chose that as winning. It just felt a little bit more significant. But I think you're right, Ben. I think literally this story could have been told in any location in any part of the world, and it would have still have been in a straightforward semi-mystery that we don't find an answer to at the end.
My winning comes down to the fact that I love when character actors are given the opportunity to kind of shine, and John Hawkes in this movie, it was my favorite part of the movie, watching him perform.
Okay.
He's plays the Uncle Teardrop. He has some really standout scenes. I really like the scene where he's pulled over and confronting the cop who kind of turned his brother in.
Yeah.
Like the tension of that scene, it's very well done. And a lot of it has to do with the camera angles too, of kind of shooting John Hawkes only through the driver's side mirror. I liked that. And then I like the scene where he shows up to save Ree, and all of these people who are kind of oppositional right now who have hurt her. He just kind of stands there, and you can see that the entire group fears him, despite him not being like a super imposing guy. Like you talk about that look, Brandon. Mm-hmm. He's got that look in that scene where it's like, don't even try it because I'll fuck you up.
Even his line when he's talking to the police officer, he just looks up. He says, and I wrote this down. He says, "Is this going to be our time?" Yeah. I was like, it's finna go down. I just knew somebody was going to get hit. I knew it.
Other things that you liked? Emily, I know you didn't like it. Did you have anything else you liked?
Well, you mentioned the acting, and obviously John Hawkes. I thought he was great. I think in the beginning he was really harsh and immediately dislikable, but I loved seeing his like little bit of growth and caring coming through for his family. I thought Jennifer Lawrence did a really great job being a 19-year-old who did her first big time movie. I don't know if it's Best Actress nomination worthy, but I thought she did a really nice job. But really, really my favorite part were all the dogs in the movie. They were so freaking adorable. And like the kids interacting with the dogs, the actors interacting with the dogs. Every time a dog was on screen, I would be like, oh, puppy. They were great. It was the best part of the movie for me because like there were so many of them just hanging out, doing shit. I was like, yeah, dogs.
I like the line delivery that Jennifer Lawrence gave to the bondsman when he talked about going in her house to look for her dad. She's like, you do. I know you'll be wasting my time and pissing me off. I was like, yeah.
And she said, what was it? Like, I forgot the last name, but she says, that's what I am, bread and buttered. I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't even fucking understand that. So confusing. Was it supposed to mean easy? I don't even know.
That's like, this is what I am through and through. Like, this is this is me. Like, it's almost like saying like you're homegrown. Like this is what I am.
Thank God I have Brandon explaining shit to me.
It helps to be in from like a little further south. It helps.
Let's get into the bad, and I would like to start because fucking Squirrel Dream is the worst scene in this movie.
I forgot that happened. How did I forget that?
Looking like a fucking 1940s student film or something Warner Herzog would masturbate to. Like, good God, it did not belong in this movie. I watched it 4 times on YouTube.
You did not.
Yep, because I wanted to try to understand what it was telling me and what it was trying to do. And
it doesn't foreshadow shit?
No, nothing. It gave me nothing. Awful. Edit that shit out or make it clear. Awful.
I kind of forgot about that too. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't believe I forgot about it because I immediately complained about it to Ben. I was like, what the fuck is this Squirrel Dream?
Yeah.
Squirrel Dream.
I think what bothered me the most is, I said it earlier briefly, they didn't comment on all of the misogyny that was happening. You know, I understand that there are some cultures where, this is so hard for me to say. I understand that there's like this embedded culture of constantly berating people that are quote unquote lower than you in our society. But within this, watching even the women talk to Jennifer Lawrence's character about like, you don't have a man to do this for you, or, you know, them beating her up because they know that a man can't beat her up. It rubbed me so wrong. And I get it, but at the same time, I feel like they didn't do anything about it. They're just like existing in a documentary style kind of thing. And it drove me nuts because I'm sitting there watching it, and maybe that's the point, to make me mad and to make me upset. But I feel like a better movie would do something about it than just let us sit with it.
I guess in that better movie, who would you have had comment on it?
Jennifer Lawrence would do something.
Would have called it out?
Yeah, she would have done something.
Because she kind of does when she talks to her friend about how her husband kind of tells her what to do. Like, she called out her friend for
gonna be honest,
over.
I was like falling asleep during those parts. I'm sorry. This movie bored me. You're right, Brandon. It's so straightforward. Everything kind of fits together. We're gonna get told off by every single family member, neighbor who's also a family member. Just saying, no, you gotta shut up. You gotta be quiet. I'm not saying anything. I'm just trying to find my dad and shit. And even the music just bored me to tears. It put me to sleep. It was so hard to keep my eyes open.
I will say, for the most part, everything memorable in this movie came from the second half of the movie. Like, the first 45 to 50 minutes did feel like a little bit of a slog to get through.
Besides that Squirrel Dream?
Squirrel Dream was still second half of the movie.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah.
Because that woke me up.
A lot of people further south, like, everybody's your cousin. That's kind of how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Not
even
saying that
if they're
actually
related or not related, but they're actually related. Does that make sense?
You kind of lost me with the not related.
Okay, so like, I have family, but they're not actually my family. Versus when you say everybody's cousin, they actually are related.
In some way, shape, or form, like either you're married in or something like that.
Got
like
it.
It's like, so it's like it felt like a Ozark Mafia type thing. Like this is like, you know, it's like everybody knows, but nobody's gonna say anything because they know what this person was into. You know what I'm saying? So like that whole conversation doesn't necessarily happen out in the open. It happens, you know, amongst family members, and that's kind of it. Even though word kind of gets out, and that was a big thing. There was like, yeah, everybody was saying toward the end, or they're saying we're doing this, they're saying we're doing that. And I think when that starts to happen, that's when you start to get like law enforcement to show up and be like, yo, this is what we're hearing on the street, or, you know, in the sticks or whatever, wherever they're at.
On the trail. That's what.
Right. On the trail. When she went to go talk to Thump about, because Thump's her uncle, right?
I think he's like a great uncle or something, because I feel like I don't even know. I don't even want to try to deal with this family tree.
Right, and it just kind of
feels
feels
not worth
like
the effort.
it does kind of, it felt like a lot, but it kind of felt like anytime family was directly involved, it became something else. But like I think because her dad kind of went against whatever the family was doing, he kind of had to go. Like, just like if it's what's the guy's name in The Godfather? The brother in The Godfather 2. I'm forgetting people's names right now. I should know this. I feel bad for not knowing this.
Guido?
No, not Guido. What's his brother's name? Anyway, it's like when you go against the family, that's kind of like the thing you don't do, and that kind of holds true in other situations, like as far as family goes, even in like the South. Like, you talk about it, you talk around it, but you don't talk directly about it unless it's that person. And if it comes to little kids, stuff like that, you don't really tell kids what's going on. I think that's why she had to figure out what was going on, because her and her brother didn't know, but it felt like everybody else kind of in the family kind of knew. That's how like the ladies knew.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what my point was. It just kind of felt like it was just like it just, I don't know about this movie either. I liked it, but I didn't like it. I don't know if that's even possible.
Very possible.
Hey, Brandon, were you thinking of Fredo?
Fredo.
Yeah.
Fredo's who it was.
Okay, last stop. Weird.
I got one.
Oh, I got one too. What do you got?
And it's stupid. So, Brandon, you talked about the Army recruiter. Wasn't an actual actor. He was really an Army recruiter and responded the way that he would respond to a real student asking those questions. And me as a teacher, it really threw me out of the movie because she was really fucking dumb. Like, Ree was so stupid. The fact that she didn't realize that, oh, I have to go to basic training and I can't bring my 6-year-old sister with me. And I can't get that $40,000 right now as soon as I sign up. And, oh, I'm 17 years old and I have to be 18 or have a parent or be emancipated from my parents to like actually do this. But at the same time, that's how my fucking students are. They are so oblivious to the world. And it took me out of it because I was sitting there going, shit, she's stupid. And I went, oh God, my students are stupid too. They asked the same shit. I had to talk to them about how credit cards worked. I had to talk to them about college scholarships and what merit scholarships were and how things were renewable and not renewable. And I had to talk to them about all sorts of things, like how to save up money. And oh my God, the questions they ask me are so dumb and I love them, but God, they're oblivious to the world and don't know how to Google things.
So it was almost too accurate for you.
Yeah. So accurate.
I almost took it as though like she's been out of school for a while. Like maybe she did ROTC when she was 15 and now she's 17. Because like you don't know when the mom lost it. You don't know why the mom lost it either. Like it could have just been too much stress and she kind of just, so maybe she was inhaling fumes when they were like, doing meth or something. You have no clue when she lost it, but you know that she's been taking care of those kids for a long, long time. So it could be that in between to her. Oh, I can do this. I want to go into the service. And she basically wants to go into the service to get away. Like she doesn't want to be there anymore anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it could be, her dad could have been in and out of jail since the time she was 15 and then her mom could have lost it.
Whatever, Brandon. I'm not trying to justify my weird to you, but...
So, Brandon, you talked about the first 5 or 6 minutes setting up this film really well by doing a lot of showing, not telling. There's a scene early on where Ree is walking with her siblings outside with the dogs. And while the siblings are talking in the foreground, the dog in the background pops a squat and just starts shitting. And
I didn't see that.
I can't believe that that's the take that they chose to use because it took me right out of the movie. I'm like, what am I watching?
I missed that altogether.
Was it a solid poop?
It was, he was clearly doing like the dog leg squat. It was real good.
I think the only thing was weird for me was that people were losing their accents every once in a while.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I picked up on that. Which that area is kind of hard to pick because it's not necessarily Texas. It's not Alabama. It's not that Arkansas. It's like this weird.
Is it like a softer sort of take on it?
Yeah.
Like a southern accent?
If anybody from Cape Girardeau listens, it's kind of Cape Girardeau-esque. Like that Cape Girardeau is kind of the Booth Hill area where it's a mesh of everything. And everybody kind of like you can tell, you almost tell where somebody is from. If you spend 2 years in Cape Girardeau, you almost know like, okay, they're on the Arkansas side. they're closer to like Kentucky. They're closer to, you know what I'm saying? No, they're definitely Illinois because they don't have this.
Let's put a cork in this bitch. Emily, final thoughts.
I nothing this movie. It was fine. I don't recommend it. Y'all can watch it if you want. It did nothing for me.
I'll go next. I don't know what was worse, the movie or the little girl's banjo playing at the end. Did not really enjoy the movie. Don't see what the critics see. I would not recommend someone go see this. This is one of the first non-recommends that I have.
It feels like Ben said, you've probably seen it before, just in a different city. And it's not, maybe at the time it was great, but right now it's watching it 12, 13 years later. It was all right.
Especially when we've had such phenomenal, exciting, strange things in the past couple years during the pandemic and post-pandemic. I mean, the pandemic's still happening, but you know what I mean? We've had some of this weird, awesome, crazy shit with really great stories. So I agree, Brandon.
What's your favorite idea? Mine is being creative.
How do you get the idea?
I just try to think creatively.
Let's do something more fun and talk about this movie. Number one, you remember how Deborah Granick's movies, like the two movies,
have bone
were
in
named
them.
something with bone in them? Yeah. What is Deborah Granick's next Bone movie?
She's going to do the musical biopic for Bone Thugs and Harmony. I feel a suburban white woman probably knows how to capture that that culture, and you know, she'd be the one to go after. It's going to be kind of like Straight Outta Compton, but you know, Bone Thugs related.
I can't beat that at all. There's no way I can beat that. I can just see like just like suburban white mom singing like it's East 199999. Just walk around singing that. Oh God, I can't. I gotta pass. That's a hard pass. I can't.
That was pretty good, Ben. That was pretty damn good.
Thugs.
Number two. This is a fill in the blank. It would have been a really great prank if they threw the bag over Ree's head and rode her out onto the water of the pond, only to have her reach into the water and grab what?
A deck of Pokemon cards.
Oh! All water Pokemon, too.
All water. Yep, Squirrel's in there, all of them.
And then they sit on the rowboat and play. That would have been a really charming twist that I would not have expected, for sure.
They have her reach in and pull out a bow and arrow.
Oh my God.
And that is how we get to this being a prequel for Hunger Games. Like, she pulls out the bow and arrow, and they train her so that she's ready.
Circle.
Yep.
And then she kills them all.
Yeah.
Because she's got to feed her family.
She's got to feed her family. She resorts to cannibalism. It gets that serious.
Yeah, absolutely. Number three. Did you know the Ozarks have a world championship squirrel cook-off every year? Yes, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
So what squirrel dish are you going to make that will beat your opponent's dish? What kind of squirrel meal are you making?
Squirrel gumbo.
Oh my God, that sounds so bad.
Yep. Squirrel
Any
gumbo.
other critters in there? I know usually it features quite a bit of
some gator.
stuff.
Definitely doing gator in there. Some rabbit. Let me go. I'm gonna go real country. I'm gonna say a little bit of tripe in there. What else? I don't really do gizzards like that. Some giblets.
Stop, Brandon. Stop.
I'm gonna make a turducken-quirl, which is gonna be a squirrel stuffed in a chicken, stuffed in a duck, stuffed in a turkey.
Now let's all agree to never be creative again.
Let's play a game.
Yeah, this week's game is called Meth Head Acting.
Stop. Are you serious? How long did it take you to come up with that? Like 10 seconds?
I definitely came up with the name before I came up with the game. I built the game around this idea. So
of course you did.
I'm going to give you an actor and a movie they were in, Brandon, and you need to tell me if they were actually drinking or doing the drugs that the characters were in the movie. How method were they with their acting?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we'll do 60 seconds on the clock, and away we go. Seth Rogen in Pineapple Express.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He was smoking shit.
Seth Rogen doesn't smoke on the set. He's a professional. That's a no.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson in Easy Rider.
Yes.
He was. Nicolas Cage in Leaving Las Vegas.
No.
Correct. Ewan McGregor in Trainspotting.
No.
Correct. Snoop Dogg in Baby Boy.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Peter Dante in Grandma's Boy.
No.
Incorrect. Nick Nolte in The Good Thief.
No.
He did. He actually did heroin.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction.
No, she wasn't doing that shit.
Correct. John Belushi in Animal House.
Yes.
Correct. Jared Leto in Requiem for a Dream.
No.
Correct. 7 out of 10, Brandon. Very well done. Good job.
70%. You pass.
Yeah.
Hard C.
Better than me. I don't know like half of those movies.
Yeah, that Seth Rogen one threw me because I thought for sure that like he would be the type of guy who would just be getting high on set, but no. And even when he was filming This Is the End with Rihanna was trying to smoke on set, and he's like, "Be a professional."
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, and I didn't think the Grandmama's Boy. I didn't think he would do it because like there's like you don't really want to smoke around your grandma like older people. It doesn't feel like it's a prudent thing to do.
Peter Dante is the one who gets really high and has like the African friend who's got the lion. That's Peter Dante. It's not the main character. It's the one who's constantly high in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And is the weed dealer. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So stupid.
I love it. That movie's hilarious too.
I like that movie too. Emily, what are we going on next week?
Next week, we are welcoming back M from Verbal Diorama.
Woo.
And we will be watching one that is universally loved by this podcast, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
So dope.
Yeah.
So dope.
Super excited to talk about that one.
God, I love that movie. I could talk about that movie for hours on end. Jesus Christ.
I think we all could. We're going to cut it down.
Yeah.
So hopefully less than 2.
Yeah, we'll stick under 2 for sure. Thank you everyone for listening. Please like, rate, subscribe, share us with a friend or two. And you can follow us on social media at IDYP_podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And you can email us at idrinkyourpodcast@gmail.com. Any and all feedback would be greatly appreciated. Before we go, Brandon, you come from the area in your best Ozark accent. And the episode by saying,
I'm a lot further
I drink your podcast, I drink it up. I know, but...
All right, I'm okay. All right, I'm going to try. Listen here now. I'm going to drink your podcast. Boy, I'm gonna drink it up now.
Really
oh my God!
Bye, everybody.
All right, take it easy, y'all.